The 5-year project at Cardiff University will look at every aspect of society, from what makes families tick to how communities run, looking at subjects such as education, well-being, age and diversity. I caught up with the head of the centre at the Pierhead building down Cardiff Bay.
It's a new Economic and Social Research Council centre. It's a large centre that's going to be running for 5 years. And we're particularly interested in how civil society forms have changed and what the impact of these are in local communities. So we're also interested in countries where there's a degree of devolution going on and what that means for a range of civil society organisations. And that kind of covers a whole host of things, from charities, third sector organisations, protest groups, a whole host of different types of organisations that are outside the state and the market, if you like.
And we'll be looking at things that are affecting sort of families and people, our ageing society, how families are fracturing. Is that a big part of it as well?
That's a very important part of it. We've got a whole theme that's looking at intergenerational relations and how these have changed. So things like how older people and younger people interact. Grandparenting, for example, we're looking at how grandparenting has changed and whether there are different ways of grandparenting going on, in different parts of the country.
And how will you put the money to use? How do you actually get to the nitty-gritty of that? How do you get to dig down and find all that out, first of all?
Okay, right. Well, we're kind of priding ourselves on we use interdisciplinary approaches and lots of different kinds of methods. So some of our researchers will be analysing large data sets that already exist. So at UK level, European level, there are a host of different types of surveys on crime, for example, surveys on citizenship, or surveys on older people. So we've got a whole bunch of researchers who are interested in doing that kind of work, but we've also got researchers who use more intense local forms of research, researching communities and different groups of people, using different techniques like interviewing people or observing organisations and groups as they go through time.
Now, certainly over the last sort of 150 years, society seems to be changing at an ever greater, more rapid rate. Yes. When you get this information, how can you use it? What sort of use will it be to teach us about things?
Yeah, well, one of the ways, for example, is if you look at, let's take a narrow view of civil society, that it's about the third sector. Well, in the last 5 to 10 years, there's been increasing pressure on third sector organisations to be delivering care. For example, care of older people. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's better forms of care as a result of that? Does it mean that it's just another way of cutting state support for older people? So we're hoping to bring evidence to bear on questions like that. Do these things have real effects on individual people's lives?
The centre says it believes the research will improve our knowledge of the changing nature of communities and society. It says it's the biggest investment into research in communities and volunteering in Wales.